So I'm from GPSports. My name's Adrian Faccioni, and I founded the business in 2000. We don't have a lot of time, so a really quick story. So I was an academic before then, and in 1995, and I get a letter for tenure, and I read it, and it says, "Adrian, congratulations, tenure. Your retirement date is the 31st of December 2030. This is in 1995. At that point, I thought, oh, geez, I'm going to get out of here. So that was the start. What do I do? I need to find something that I can do that gets me out of academia. So what happened was I was coaching at the time, so that's my background is sport, and I was coaching an athlete whose boyfriend was an engineer, and he was a really avid windsurfer, and he was working in a car GPS company, and he took a car GPS and he had attached to a laptop, and he had a satellite dish on his head and bloody cables, and then he'd zoom on his windsurfer, look at this little display, see how fast he could go, and I thought, wow, now if we can make that really small and add some other smarts to it, we've got something we could potentially sell. So at that point in time I resigned, jumped into this, and here we are sort of almost 14 years later. So we're the first to bring out a sport GPS device, which is quite good. We're kind of a leader in the technology at the moment, and we're really into sort of football as our major market. Now this happened just very recently, so this is an absolute superstar soccer player, and after that, and that was on, we had that in about 9 or 10 articles all around the world, we had all these people emailing and go, where do I get that posture improving vest from? And what was really interesting is that a lot of players, when we started, said, there's no way that I'm wearing a bra. There's just no chance. So one of the NRL players said, well, let's call it the bro. And as soon as we do that, everything's great. No problems. And so we sell thousands of these things all over the world, and we've got people who buy them and don't even put a unit in it. Just I'm wearing one of these and look at my posture's great, right? So now, as a company, we are very much in the hardware space, and as Ken mentioned, that is hard, right? And so where we're looking at moving is we're getting a lot of data, and the whole big data thing's pretty focused, and so that's kind of where we're moving towards, is getting a lot of their data and doing some really smart things now with running symmetry and collisions and doing some really quite clever stuff with the data, because the mobile phone largely does what our device does. Ours is just a bit smarter and a bit smaller. So that we're kind of changing directions as we go along. We have some pretty good clients around the world, and it looks funny when you speak to people like, oh wow, how amazing you've got, Real Madrid, you've got blah blah blah, but they've got no money. I mean, before we started, most football teams we work with never spend more than $10,000 a year on technology. 10,000. Some of the players are making 20 million a year, and they spend 10,000 on whatever. So we've had to kind of grow that market, which has been pretty tough. Our product evolution, so we started way back, and you see there's whopping big device that plays still war in games way back in the early days, right up to rolling out a pretty small little device then. And I've got two little crosses, and the little cross, the first one was, we were the first guys to come up with the idea of doing a GPS cycle sort of speedometer type of device, right? We had all the specs, we had everything going, didn't have the resources, didn't raise any money for it, didn't do it, and last year Garmin made 500 million selling bike speedos with a GPS base, right? So here's that opportunity. And then in 2008, and I'll talk about problems in a second, in 2008 we ended up fast-tracking something because we weren't taking notice of what was going on in the market with our competitors, and we built a product that actually had major problems, and we had huge recalls, a bit like what Ken was saying. We had massive recalls, and that just about brought us to the end. So there's some things that we sort of did wrong along the way. So in terms of setbacks, I just want to talk a little bit about things. I can spend a lot of time talking about what we do wrong, because I think that really helps hopefully. So first one, I said we made some hardware faults. We didn't have the resources to fix it, so we tried to do lots of band-aid approaches. And we'd do band-aids, and then we'd have to do more band-aids and more band-aids, and it really got us into a huge hole. Then we ran out of money, and so from 2009 for the next 3 years was the most unpleasant experience of my entire life. And then, to add to that, our competitors found out that we weren't doing so well financially, so they hit us with an IP infringement lawsuit just to see if they could push us over the edge. And so we had 3 years where it was running on the smell of an oily ragtime, and that's what it was really. So there was lots of sleep loss. In fact, really quickly, one story, we're out of money, we've got a distributor in the UK who owes us some cash, it's about 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm screaming at him on the phone, walking around in my underpants in my room, going, just give us the money, right? Like this sort of stuff. My sales guy is over there, and at the end they go, is there a problem with your company? He's going, no, it's good, just give us the cash, give us the cash. So that's the sort of stuff that we're having to do. And then, so again, just to finish, some tips. Really keep an eye on your market. Lots of articles and books say, oh, don't worry about your competitors, but you've got to really worry about your competitors because they can sometimes sneak in behind you. And this might be seen really simple, but I didn't know much about finance. When I started, I was an academic. You don't worry about the money came in and we spent it and whatever else, right? So really get your head around that. Get super advisors. That's really, really important. Wherever you get them from, get those people. Execution of the plan is really important. That's where most of these companies fall down. And the last one, if you really believe what you do, you just got to dig deep and hang in there. And you know, I talk about being on the brink, and sometimes you've got to be there. If you can pop through the other end, it makes it an incredible experience. And you know, we sort of ticking over here. The last 2 or 3 years have been great, and it kind of made that horrible times almost worthwhile. So that's good. Thank you.